Got an idea for a topic? Email us at newsmakers@krla870.com. That's newsmakers@krla870.com. Sunday Morning Newsmakers with Larry Marino. AM 870, The Answer.
We always follow along what Judicial Watch is into because it is important stuff. Recently, Judicial Watch uncovered some cover-up discussions in one of the productions of the Clinton email documents. Let's get more from Judicial Watch President Tom Fitton, who's joining us right now. Tom, thank you so much for taking some time to update us on this story. What is the latest here?
Well, these are emails. Thank you for having me, Larry. These are emails from the FBI, their investigation, essentially, of the Clinton email matter. I use matter in quote marks. And the emails document that it literally was a cover-up email or two in the vendor materials of Hillary Clinton's server company. So essentially, Hillary Clinton had people working on her system, and shortly after she turned over her emails to the government back in 2014, the emails show that there was a cover-up. Let me get the specific language. Hillary Clinton. I couldn't write it. I couldn't make it up. Hillary cover-up operation work ticket archive cleanup, and that's straight from the December notes of the FBI.
They actually title it that?
Yes, and there's another email they may be referencing this where it's called Platte River Networks is the name of the company. There's an email between two people that say it's all part of the Hillary cover-up operation, and then they have a smiley face. I'll tell you about it at the party.
Wow.
Boy, oh boy.
Yeah, and now you're only getting this now because what? There's a FOIA, the Freedom of Information Act, things that your group does that applies for these, and slowly the government complies, or it's some time between when you ask for it and when you get these, right?
Oh yes, it's like it takes forever and a day to get the documents. We sued for these documents, let's see, back in, we first began asking for them in October of 2016. So we just got them the other day. So, it's almost 2.5 years of waiting and litigating. We have to sue in federal court to get these documents.
Now, this story is popular on Fox News and in conservative talk radio, but does anyone call you from CBS, ABC, NBC to do a story on this, CNN?
I don't know. It seems they're not interested in FBI evidence of cover-ups related to Hillary Clinton. And the fact that the DOJ did nothing with that while going full bore against President Trump or then-candidate Trump tells you all you need to know about the way both the Justice Department and the FBI were operated during the Obama administration.
Yeah. When you listen to the comments that they say, they'll say, like, well, she's not president, so anything that happened under her time is really not relevant anymore. Would you beg to differ?
Well, she's still a citizen. She's still a powerful political figure. And, the swamp way is to give someone a get-out-of-jail-free card if they lose an election, despite any crimes that took place. The rule of law applies to Hillary Clinton. And there are, for instance, people going to jail associated with President Trump who weren't elected to anything. They're just private citizens.
Yeah. Haven't had a chance to talk to you since the Mueller investigation wrapped up and Barr issued his 4-page summary. What's your reaction to all that, to what has been several years now, a couple of years and millions of dollars, and couldn't find collusion there?
Well, I'm obviously happy that this abuse has begun to end. But it's really outrageous that it took them forever, basically well over a year, since they certainly had evidence that there was no evidence that there was Russia collusion, for them to finally vindicate and exonerate the president. But this Mueller operation has been a burden on our republic, a burden on the presidency. And all American citizens should be happy it's over.
At the time we tape this, we're told this week the report is to be redacted and put out. Any thoughts, anything you expect? Because there's almost a pattern here. Will there be a sentence or two that's picked up on the other side to feel like there's some vindication somewhere? Do you think that will happen, or do you think it will be another tough week for Democrats?
Oh, I think they'll try to, and because they have allies in the Mueller team, they're anti-Trumpers, there'll be material in the report designed to denigrate and make President Trump look bad. I don't understand why the Justice Department's in the business of just putting out dirt on the president. Their job is to prosecute or not prosecute people, not issue op-eds. So to the degree that material is out there, you can bet the Democratic left will pick up on it. Heck, it's their political party that was behind the Mueller investigation to begin with, so they're going to try to salvage anything they can.
Yeah. Barr was on a Senate panel, interviewed in a Senate panel last week, and he referenced that he believes there possibly was spying taking place, and he wants to find out the origins of that. Democrats just threw up their hands. Oh, he's editorializing. And they went around and found various people from that are out from the administration saying things like, no, it was surveillance. Spying, surveillance. When you look into these things, as you've done FOIA requests, is it parsing words? Is it spying? Is it surveillance? Does it matter?
It's the same thing. The left is upset because Mr. Barr didn't only call it spying, but even more dangerously to them, suggested he may actually look into what was behind it, which could very well lead to criminal charges. And that's why they're screaming about it. To argue whether it was spying or not is just, I'm rarely speechless in the face of insanity here in Washington, D.C., but you don't know what to say to someone who says that spying isn't spying when it obviously was. It's crazy town, and it's and it's indication of desperation. Crazy people say crazy things, and these folks are upset that they may be targeted for criminal prosecution, so they're desperate to defend their party because the Democratic National Committee was behind this illicit spying, and the leadership of their party, like Barack Obama, who obviously authorized it.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. How far does it go? And once you're out of office and you're no longer president, do you also kind of get a pass on this thing? Because you get those in the universities who say, we do not want to be like a banana republic where you try the guy who just got out and throw him in jail and lock him up and do away with the key. You know what they're saying? They're saying that you got to look forward. You could spend time looking back. You've heard all the arguments.
Well, there needs to be accountability. We need to know how it happened and why it happened and who should be held responsible. And to the degree that people like Barack Obama may eventually also be given, again, positions of public trust, presidents are often called upon to do work on behalf of the government as commissioners or, representatives. And, do we want someone like Barack Obama who authorized illegal spying on his political opponent like Donald Trump? I don't think so. And if the facts bear out what I suggest, he needs to be held to account as best as the public is able to and our system allows him to. He's not going to be convicted or thrown in jail over this, but certainly his legacy should be appropriately cataloged.
Yeah. We're told that presidents, both Democrat and Republican, have spied before, have looked at their opponents and used the resources available to them incorrectly. Are we making too much of this? It just happens to be a former Democrat president and a now Republican president? Or do we need to understand there's something endemic when you have that office and you've got these tools, you can do stuff like that?
Well, Nixon was removed from office in part because of a spying operation against his domestic political opponents, or he had to resign from office because of that. So I'm not naive as to think it hasn't happened before, but when it happens, we got to blow the whistle on it.
I think of your organization as being nonpartisan and looking for transparency. I want to jump to the issue of tax returns and how Congress wants to get a hold of Trump's tax return. You know they want to dig in there and try to find something inappropriate somewhere and use it to make hay. What do you think? Are you typically for having presidential candidates show their tax returns?
Look, if the president wants to be transparent about his tax returns, he has every right to. The law doesn't require him to, and there's all sorts of other publicly available information about his businesses and his finances that we can gain access to. He has a right to his confidential tax returns, and the idea that the government, or specifically the Congress, can abuse its authority to go on a fishing expedition through his tax returns simply because they don't like him and they think he should never have been elected president is an abuse of power. If they can go after the president, they can go after you.
Tom Fitton, do you think this will get tested all the way to the High Court, the Supreme Court, on this authority?
I don't know. I don't know if the Democrats will push it that high. I think, nor do I know for sure whether the president will push back significantly to force it all the way up to the Supreme Court. I would encourage him to stand against the spy effort run out of Congress that seeks to rifle through his tax returns, though.
As far as focus on ahead in the next 6 months or a year, do you think that the White House should keep going this narrative of looking into the past, of looking into what happened? How did the Mueller investigation go wrong? What about Hillary's involvement, the Democratic Party? Or does that in any way hinder addressing some of the issues that need to be done now? And does it become kind of a political horse to ride, so to speak? Is it yes to all that?
Well, that's you're raising a political issue. I tend to approach it, what's the right thing to do? Should there be people held accountable for this wild abuse of law? This is the worst corruption scandal in American history. So from my perspective, it's worth talking about and investigating it.
Tom Fitton, president of Judicial Watch, as always, thanks so much. Where can people follow you?
On our website at judicialwatch.org, and we're on Facebook and Twitter. And, of course, you can follow me on Twitter at Tom Fitton.
Thanks again. Great conversation. Appreciate it. Take care now. Bye-bye.
Hey, thanks, Larry. Yeah, bye-bye.
AM 870, The Answer.
Up next, the Barack Lurie Show, hosted by attorney Barack Lurie. The very popular Barack Lurie Show is filled with stimulating conversation and a fresh point of view on politics, religion, and the law. Next on AM 870, The Answer.
Sunday morning newsmakers with Larry Marino.